Forget the gold rush. There is apparently a gun rush on in America. Gun sales have recently surged. Some say one reason is fears that an Obama re-election could usher in a new era of gun control regulations. That's what the NRA claims. And people are so worried that top firearm manufacturer Sturm Ruger and Company is actually suspending new firearm orders because they say they cannot keep up. And get this. The company has sold more than 1 million guns the first quarter of this year. That's nearly the same number of firearms sold in all of last year. Joining me now, Larry Pratt, the Executive Director of Gun Owners of America. And not just Larry, stand by. Hold on a second. John Hlinko. John, exactly. I'm sorry.
No
Your name
problem.
wasn't in the prompter, and we haven't met before, so I apologize to you for that.
No problem.
Let me start with you on this, Larry. What explains this?
Well, I think it's building on what's already been there. We saw right before the last election of the president that fears of what he might do, of his known anti-gun views, were driving people to the gun stores and the gun shows, and sales have actually remained high since then. And the spike that you're correctly pointing to now is on top of that steady high drumbeat of sales. I saw it personally with my own eyes last weekend.
But why? What's behind it exactly?
People have seen the president make appointments without Senate confirmation. He determines when they're in session or not, when Constitution clearly says that the Senate makes its own rules. And so when you see this kind of lawless behavior on the part of the president, willing to violate the Constitution, well, my Second Amendment's probably going to be in the sights of this fellow pretty soon, too. In fact, he's already done some things to assure us that he does want to restrict guns by banning reimportation of 800,000 plus rifles from Korea, old rifles, but nevertheless, and they ban the importation of certain shotguns that had features amazingly similar to the Clinton gun ban. So we see the handwriting on the wall.
John, has the president been anti-Second Amendment?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, you know, we hear this again and again and again. The gun industry has excellent marketing, and they like whipping people into a frenzy because it increases gun sales. So we hear the story again and again, oh, he's coming to take your guns, and I mean, it's nonsense. I mean, what has been done? What has been done that is different? I mean, they point to this anecdotal evidence, and yet, you know, Congress couldn't even enact a ban on, you know, gun clips, you know, of 20, 30, you know, bullets apiece. They couldn't, I mean, we haven't even gone to reasonable restrictions on gun ownership, let alone unreasonable.
You know, Larry, the spike has been considerable. This one manufacturer saying that they have to shut down sales, and they say that a large number of those buying the guns are women, that women are buying guns in record numbers. Why?
Well, I think women realize that 9/11 doesn't really help much if you're being attacked, and a good response time for the police is 6 minutes. That's just not going to work well, and so they've come to the conclusion that they need to be able to protect themselves, just as men have for a long time realized that that's important. And I saw a lot of women at the gun show, too, by the way, to confirm what you're saying.
John, the NRA has come out and said that the president's gun strategy is crystal clear. He wants to get reelected, and with no more elections to worry about, get busy dismantling and destroying the firearms freedom. I want to ask you whether you believe that is true and whether others should believe it's true right after this break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. John, I wanted to get your reaction to that NRA prediction that if President Obama gets reelected with no constraints of another election, he's going to, quote, erase the Second Amendment.
You know, I'm going to make a prediction that the NRA will continue to spout this nonsense. The NRA long ago ceased to be a reasonable defender of gun rights, and now is just beholden to the gun industry. They're coming up with this nonsense, these imaginary, oh, how is he going to erase the Second Amendment? What kind of nonsense is that? And yet the reason they do that is they know when they stoke these fears, their membership increases, gun sales increase. It's very clear what they're doing. The problem is it just happens to be utter nonsense.
Larry, the president, I mean, you know, what exactly could he do? He'd have to get it through Congress. He doesn't have an anti-gun Congress.
Well, the president made a play, his subalterns did initially, and he's covering it up now, in the Fast and Furious scandal, which was designed, as we know from email that have been leaked into congressional record, to change the optics on the gun control debate, giving guns into the hands of the Mexican cartel. Some 300 Mexicans have now been killed, a couple of our federal agents. They wanted to have a basis, say, our bad, all our guns are going down into Mexico and causing the problem, when in fact the government itself was out of control. And if they'll do that now before the election, who can imagine what they might try after the election if they were successful getting reelected?
Guns have been under attack, I guess, for lack of a better term, in the wake of the Trayvon Martin murder down in Florida, where the stand your ground law was used as an excuse by the police for not arresting his shooter. Do they have their focus on the right thing? I mean, should this put guns back into the national debate? Quick answers first, Larry, then John.
Well, I think the law has seemed to have worked the way it's supposed to. There were witnesses that saw Trayvon on top of Zimmerman, flailing away at him, beating him up with his fists. So it's not been depicted widely that that was the nature of that altercation.
I hadn't heard those witnesses. I heard that he had a bloody nose and he had grass on his back, but I hadn't heard about people.
And that's why I think the police, when the police got there and they heard from those witnesses, I'm sure that was part of the basis of their decision.
John, I'll give you the last word on it.
I think we need to put gun control back into the national debate for a simple reason. In my lifetime, over 1 million Americans have been killed by guns. And I'm old, but I'm not that old. We need sensible gun controls. We need restrictions that we can all agree, except for the NRA and the gun lobby, that would be sensible.
Gentlemen, thank you both so much.